Na, 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 na. And what's going on, guys? This is Ease. You guys caught me singing a bit of Miley, mate. Right, 20 settings, right? For season 13, here we go. These are going to be the most important settings for you guys to know about and actually just kind of perfect, master, feel comfortable with for your rank climbs this season. So make sure you stick around for the whole video, of course. And if you do find it useful, leave a like down below. And yeah, if you do actually want to improve as a player, these will definitely help. But I'm saying like actual like in-lane stuff, mid-late game macro, these types of ideas. The GameLeap website, our resources, our library of content, our videos uploaded by the best challenger players and coaches from around the world. It's all you need. You will climb divisions, maybe even tiers, so join thousands of other summoners and get signed up. And yeah, let's get into the 20 settings. First setting, multiple clients. All you're going to do is right click on your League of Legends icon on your taskbar, then right click League of Legends again and go into properties. Now at the end here, after the second quotation mark, you're going to put a space, 2 hyphens, and then you're going to type allow hyphen multiple hyphen clients. Now why do this? This allows you to open up multiple League of Legends clients. So when you're in queue on one client, you can be in a practice tool practicing your clears, practicing your combos, your mechanics, your CSing even in another. This is going to help get you warmed up before you actually play your ranked games. And I think it's a super valuable thing to know about, especially if you're playing in higher MMRs or where the queue times are just longer. So you might be playing in Turkey, for example. So really useful setting to do. Number 2, quick casting abilities. Now guys, one of the biggest improvements like I made mechanically was just understanding that abilities, when you use them anyway, you want it to be as instinctive as possible. You don't want to have to question it, right? Because if the game is throwing you like an indicator, it's almost like it's asking you, are you sure you want to throw it here? And by the time you've actually clicked again, it's like it's already too late and the enemy champion is in another lane. So it's actually just a little bit slower when you're normal casting. So going into your settings, into your hotkeys and quick casting abilities, this will really help that. Now, unless you're playing something like Rumble with his ultimate or Victor with his E, those two abilities I think you should definitely normal cast. But apart from that, quick cast everything. It will definitely help you out. But let's just say you do actually want a normal cast, because for me, for example, yes, quick cast is everything, but sometimes I do want to know the actual range of an ability, especially if I'm playing a champion I'm maybe not that familiar with, or if I'm playing a ranged champion, right? So hotkeying your normal cast, so again, simply settings, hotkeys, and then actually making the normal cast of your abilities a bind. So for example, for me, I have shift in Q for a normal cast Q, shift in W for a normal cast W, etc. So again, when I want to be super accurate and just know the range of an ability, I will sometimes use this in my games. So normal cast is still there, but quick cast is my default. Now, short pins. I don't know why, but even like when I coach Master Plus players, they don't have this setting enabled. So what I want you guys to do, open up your shop, and when you hover over this arrow on the left, most of you, I'm guessing, probably have this, but when you hover over this arrow, right, another kind of like sidebar shop will show up. Boots, trinkets, pots, all of these things. What I want you to do is actually click on the pin in the top left. This will keep the shop, this will keep that sidebar open. This means every time you open your shop, you don't have to hover over that arrow. Now, it's not going to make the biggest difference in the world, but it's just efficiency, right? It saves a little bit of time. So why not? Now, setting number 6, adjusting the minimap size. With so many people, when they play League of Legends, I mean, even people in high elo, they don't have maps. What I want you guys to do is increase your minimap size pretty much until like it's just way too big. And you will know that, your eyes will tell you, because the important thing here is that when you're microing, so in like a team fight or you're CSing or laning, whatever it is, when you're doing something micro-oriented in the game, your minimap is not going to get in the way, because what you should have in the middle of your screen are the things that you want to be hitting, right? So very rarely are you going to have something where your minimap will be in terms of where you want to click, right? So adjusting the minimap size and just increasing it, generally speaking, is going to be a really good option. So do this in your interface settings. Now, target champions only is another huge setting you must have, and all you're going to do is just set a binding, a hotkey to target champions only in the abilities section. So for me, for example, this is my C key. When I press my C key, my mouse is actually going to change color. If you're using the legacy cursor, that is. If you're using the new cursor, there'll be a red kind of like diamond in the middle of it. So pretty much what this does is that if you're in like a creep wave, or the enemy champion is, or the enemy champion is under their tower maybe, or near a jungle camp, when you click near that champion, or you try to click on that champion, when you have this toggle on, what this does is it will 100% hit the champion, not anything else. This is obviously super valuable. You go onto Faker's stream, Chovy's stream, any of the top players, they will use this in every single game. So this is a must know. And also with this, if you want to set it as a toggle, go into your game settings right at the bottom here and check the toggle setting. If you just want to hold that hotkey down, which I don't actually think is that comfortable, but it might be for some of you, of course, then you can just uncheck it. Now, disabling chat is probably like the biggest thing in League, right? Who wants to listen to 2 silver players going at it about playing the game? They're silver, they have no idea. We don't want to listen to them. We want to focus on what we're doing ourselves. So go into your interface settings and going down to show allied chat. Uncheck it, happy days. You're going to win more games because you're focused on actually playing the game rather than talking to a bunch of noobs. Now, setting number 9, timestamps. Pretty much in the same thing, right? The same setting here, the chat little setting, you're going to click on show timestamps. Check that box. What this does is that when you type something or ping a summoner spell, you're going to actually have the timestamp, the time in the game next to it. This is really valuable and really valuable for flashes or like big cooldown timers, right? So if you ping someone's ultimate, like it might be 180-second cooldown ultimate, like one of those big ones, like maybe Requiem or Twisted Fate's ultimate, you know that in 3 minutes time, that they will have this back up. If it's a flash, it's 5 minutes, unless they have Cosmic Insight, and so on and so forth. You can see how useful this will be, so make sure, guys, you turn on timestamps. Now, setting number 10, favoriting champions. So in Champ Select, lots of people, right, don't actually know about this, but if you right-click on a champion, you can favorite that champion based on a role. So for example, for me, I love Shaco. So favoriting Shaco is just something that I do, and what this does is it brings Shaco to the top of that champions list. Just makes it easier for me to click him in Champ Select and select him rather than scrolling down. It's not the biggest thing in the world, but if you only have a few champions you play, this just speeds things up, and yeah, it's just a feel-good setting, I guess. Now, one of the most important actual like kind of micro settings in League of Legends is, well, it's not really related to League because it's on your PC, your desktop, your Mac, whatever you're using, turning off mouse acceleration. Go into your mouse settings on your PC, and you need to uncheck this if it isn't already. This is one of the big killers in terms of actual micro. What this means is that when you turn this off, the actual cursor in League of Legends will resemble what you're doing on your mouse pad a lot more than it will if mouse acceleration is on. Because when you make a quick jerking movement with your mouse acceleration will actually push your mouse or your cursor even further in that direction. So it won't actually again resemble what you're doing live on your mouse pad. This is super important for your micro, so please do this. Now, setting number 12, turning sound effects up. Whether it's to get you like more focus in a game, like for me, I love having it up because it really immerses me in the experience, right? And I can really focus. But it's also useful to have sound effects up to actually hear voice lines for some abilities. Like legit, you can tell what ability is coming at you based on a voice line, or even just like the champion making the noise before they use an ability, you know what's coming at you. So it's almost like a preemptive warning of what's coming maybe. So turning sound effects up, again, I just think this is a really useful setting, so give it a try in your games. And all you're doing is going into your sound settings in-game and cranking that effects up. Now, number 13, rebinding your F keys. Now, lots of people might find it a little bit awkward, right? Going from champion to champion with F2, F3, F4, etc. So for some of you, it might be easier if you press Z, X, C, V. For others, it might be maybe even 1, 2, 3, 4, and changing the actual items you're using to other hotkeys. So guys, what I'm saying is, when you're using F keys, right? So when you're looking at your friendly champions, first of all, you need to do this because it's going to give you more information about the map, and that information you can use to make better decisions. But just pick what is good for you. Binding your hotkeys, right? So all you're doing is going into your camera control settings and changing this. Give it a try. You can play maybe like a custom game, put 4 bots on your team, and go from each of them trying to find the best setting possible. Now, number 14, make lock camera a toggle. Now, lots of people, right, might play on locked camera exclusively, but it's actually bad. Reason being is because, well, your just like map awareness and field of view is sometimes really limited, right? So what I want you guys to do is actually make this a toggle. So all you're doing is going into your camera control again and changing the setting to a hotkey that again feels comfortable. Lots of people have this on spacebar. So as soon as they get in like a big team fight or they're fighting the enemy champion, it's a big 1v1, they will press spacebar. The camera is going to lock onto their champion. This is really useful if you're playing a champion with lots of mobility. So you might be playing Akali, you might be playing Zed, something like this, right? You're not going to lose track of your champion. For AD carries, it's really useful as well. So I think this is another very important setting to know about in Season 13. Now, showing spell cost is something that the game should just give you by default, but it's Riot Games, and they don't give a, well, what's it, I guess. But yes, showing spell cost. Go into settings, interface, click on show spell cost. What this means is that when you look at your HUD, your abilities, well, it'll actually show you the mana cost on the abilities. Thank goodness for that. So now you will know if you can actually use all of your abilities given the mana you have. You will also know if you use this spell, if you will have mana to then use your ultimate. This of course is huge. Please do this, guys. This is a must-have. Now, setting number 16, attack move on cursor. So go into settings, game, attack move on cursor. What this means is that when you're attacking something, if you don't actually click on it perfectly, you might click near it. Your champion is going to auto attack the closest thing to your cursor, as long as that enemy is actually in range. This, of course, is super useful for champions, ranged champions, especially when you're kiting, right? So you might be playing AD carries, mages mid lane, you might be playing Kindred, Graves in the jungle. This is really going to help you out in terms of those micro situations. So again, turn this on in your settings. Now, Legacy Cursor. Maybe this is like actually highly contested because I'm not like forcing you to do this, but guys, objectively speaking, like Legacy Cursor is actually just better than the new cursor. Reason being is because the minimap is slanted from top left to bottom right. So the issue with the new cursor based on that is that it's actually like too upright. It's too vertical. It's to the right almost. The Legacy Cursor is slanted parallel to the slant of the minimap. This means that everything on your screen, I just think you can be so much more accurate with Legacy Cursor. Like I've tried the new cursor, but again, I just feel sometimes my clicks are a little bit off, or I might click to the right of the thing I'm looking at, right? Because again, the cursor is towards the right, but the Legacy Cursor, it just feels so much cleaner. So if you are, especially a new League of Legends player, right, this setting, go into your interface and check this enable Legacy Cursor. Give it a try. Of course, some people are going to enjoy the new cursor, but I actually think the legacy one is just better. Now, showing attack range options. This is another really important one, particularly if you're playing ranged champions, because showing the actual attack range of your champion is important, especially if you're playing a champion based on big range, like a Caitlyn, like an Ashe, Tristana late game is another one, right? So all you're going to do, you have to go into your settings, your hotkey settings, and then in your player movement settings, you're going to bind your attack key, which is usually A for most people, to player attack move. Then go back in and you will see that there is an indicator now. So another really useful one. Now, unchecking your move camera on revive, I just think this is a given, and this is a really simple one. Go into your game settings, uncheck the move camera on revive. When I respawn, I know I'm on full HP, I know I'm on full mana or energy, whatever. Like, I don't have to worry about it. I can actually keep my camera on the minimap, on the team fight. I can ping summoner spells. I can ping on the minimap easier. I can actually look at what's happening to my wave. I can maybe look at what the enemy champions are doing, right? So actually having move camera on revive, like enabled, doesn't do anything, right? Uncheck this. You want to look at the map. You don't need to know if your champion is on full HP or not when they respawn, because they always are. Now, last setting, guys, to think about is actually turning down your camera speed and mouse speed. So many people, right? They think Faker, Uzi, Chovy, these guys play on like insane mouse speeds, yeah? Showmaker, it's always like 3000 DPI, mouse speed is probably like 100, I don't know. But people think that because they do, they have to. Guys, do you have the same fingers and hands as Faker? No, no one does, right? He's the only person in the world with his kind of setup, I guess. So why are you trying to be like him? Be like yourself. What do you feel is actually easiest for you? A higher setting? No worries. A lower setting? No worries. There are plenty of pros who play on really low DPI, really low mouse speeds. So just chill, turn it down, and find something comfortable and controllable. It's the most important thing. You don't want to have to play League of Legends feeling as if you're just all over the place. If you're moving your camera, it's too quick and you click on something else, right? You want to be precise. You want to be accurate. So lowering these speeds, I just think is generally a good tip. So guys, those were the 20 settings for Season 13. If you did enjoy the video, leave a like down below. And so you don't miss any of our future Season 13 uploads, hit that subscribe button. And until our next upload, this has been HOTKEYS. Peace.